Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the GRCV Hoops podcast. My name is Gavin Campbell, and alongside me, as always, my good friend,
Ricardo Vargas, and as always, happy to be here in the studio talking basketball with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We never get tired of doing it. And jumping into today's first topic, the man has been set free. Eric Bledsoe of the Phoenix Suns has been traded officially as of yesterday, getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks for Greg Monroe and a first and second round draft pick, which are both lottery protected, which basically means if the Bucks don't make the playoffs, which would be absurd if they didn't, they get their picks back. So, and there has been rumors, I'm not sure yet, been floating around as to how far that protection goes, if it's just the first 14 seeds, if it's 16, 18, we're not sure where that stops at. We're still figuring out the trade. Like I said, it's only been about 24 hours since this went down. But, Rick, give me your initial thoughts on this and, just the overall aspect of Eric Bledsoe finally being put on a playoff team.
I think it was a good trade for both sides. I'm happy for Eric Bledsoe. He's going to go to a good young team, and he still has a lot of potential. He's a great player. I think he's going to fit perfectly in that Bucks system. And I think the Suns are getting a good player in Greg Monroe. They're getting the two picks. They got rid of Bledsoe. You know, it wasn't meant to be. They still have a lot of young guys on that team, and I think it's going to work well for both sides. I'm happy this happened.
I think so too. And just piggyback off real quick, the Greg Monroe trade, he only has 1 year left on his contract. And being with the Phoenix Suns, he's probably not a part of their future, having all those young assets in Devin Booker and Josh Jackson. And, what is his
They got Marquise Chris, Bender.
What's the, I can't think of the guys, is it Mike James?
Mike James,
yes. I think that's it.
Yes.
It's such a generic name, I couldn't think of it for a second. I was drawing a blank, but that guy's he's been an essential piece of the Suns.
He's been cooking. He's been cooking.
I think the rest of the team's been smelling what he's cooking. Shout out to The Rock. Dwayne Johnson there. But no, getting back to that, Greg Monroe, they'll probably let him go after this season. I don't see him as a piece on this team moving forward. However, they could re-sign him if they like his veteran presence in the locker room and, gets along with the team. But getting back to Eric Bledsoe, I think him being on the Bucks now, this gives Giannis Antetokounmpo more of a piece to work with, so to speak, than, Chris Middleton or Malcolm Brogdon, even though those are good players.
Great
players for that team and in that system. They know their roles. But Eric Bledsoe's a guy that can give you a little bit of everything. We know he's a really good defender. He's a very long wingspan for being 6'1". And that goes with the theme that the Bucks have been kind of building with the past few years now with Giannis and Thon Maker and just really long guys, And even him on the offensive end, I mean, we call him mini LeBron for a reason. He's extremely athletic. He can score the ball whenever he wants to. The only concern that I would have is how quickly is he going to fit into a Jason Kidd-style system. I think this is a guy that Jason Kidd can work with quickly, but we don't know how he's going to respond to it. We do know he's 27 years old, so this is his prime. But like I said, we'll have to see what he's able to do and what the Bucks are able to do going forward.
I think so. It's going to take him a little while, but Jason Kidd being a versatile point guard when he was playing – not too similar to Eric Bledsoe, but at the same time, yeah, because Bledsoe, he is versatile. He is a point guard. I think they'll get along well, and Giannis and him, they're going to be a very nice duo.
Does it concern you at all that the Bucks now have 8 guards on their rosters and how they're going to spread the minutes around?
Oh, yeah, no, that's tough. I think, that's a tough one. I didn't think about that, and shoot, I don't know.
I mean, this would be a little concerning to me, but I think this is very fixable just through another trade. They signed Matthew Dellavedova a couple years ago thinking that, okay, this is going to be our point guard moving forward, which, with all due respect, he was on multiple championship caliber teams and ultimately winning a championship with LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love against the Warriors in that historic down 3-1, coming back in Game 7 and closing the deal. That was incredible. But he was there for that, And
it was a good gamble trying to
absolutely. And trying to bring that leadership and experience to your team, especially with a very, very young Greek freak, and just trying to pick his brain a little bit on what kind of mentality you need for playoff style basketball, because we saw that last year. I don't want to say that Giannis couldn't handle the pressure of that first round series against the Toronto Raptors, but they had a 2-1 lead and then ended up blowing it and losing in 6 games 4-2. So we don't want to say that per se the Greek Freak has a fragile mental game, but I think that that's something that can definitely be worked on. We know that if he develops a jump shot, this guy is going to be the scariest guy in the league.
Oh my goodness!
But like we said, pairing him with Eric Bledsoe, like we've been saying, with as athletic as he is, he can be a playmaker. Like we saw with the Phoenix Suns back in the 2013-2014 season, they won 48 games. I mean, granted, it's the Western Conference. They didn't make the playoffs. They barely missed it with the 9 seed. But winning 48 games is no easy task.
Not at all.
So,
definitely. No, not at all. I think Eric Bledsoe's a great player, and I find Giannis in like a similar situation like Russell Westbrook last year. MVP type of guy, and he just needs some help. They're both different teams and all that, but I think he did need this help. And then once Jabari Parker comes back,
absolutely.
Chris Middleton, Jabari Parker, Bledsoe, Giannis, they're going to be really good.
I mean, this team is definitely no joke, and if Thon Maker comes into his own, whether it's this season or next season, the Bucks do have Bledsoe under contract for the next couple years. This team, the potential is there, and you can see it.
Yeah, Thon Maker, so much potential with that.
And even if you had concerns about Bledsoe being a ball dominant guard like he was in Phoenix, there, he still averages close to 6 assists a game. So I mean, he does know how to move the ball a little bit. He also played with 2 ball-dominant guards in Goran Dragic in Phoenix, and then Chris Paul, who was probably the most ball-dominant point guard in the NBA in Los Angeles with the Clippers for a few years there.
Right, exactly. And I think he's going to improve because you saw with the Phoenix Suns the situation with Earl Watson. Bledsoe still had a nice season last year. I think he's going to improve and have one of his best seasons, if not his best.
And he very well could. We just don't know, like we mentioned earlier, with the whole minutes and having to get those spread around evenly. If this is the guy moving forward, and Jason Kidd says, Bledsoe, you're the man. Here's the keys. You and Giannis carry us.
And I think that is going to be what's going to happen.
Absolutely. And if that is the case, then don't be surprised if Bledsoe's averaging 22, 23 points a game, 7 assists. I mean, it's very plausible.
Oh yeah.
It just like I said, it all depends. How the minutes get spread around and how soon he comes into the system. He was averaging close to 18 points a game the first 3 games of the season for the Suns before they ultimately told him to stay home, which is still a head-scratcher.
Right.
I mean, you have the guy under contract. You might as well let him play for you, right?
Exactly. But now tell me, what do you think about the Suns now with getting rid of him?
When I think of Phoenix, I think that they went about this the wrong way, but it was probably the right move for them because Bledsoe being 27 years old, going on 28, he didn't fit in with the plans that Phoenix had for the future going forward because, their goal is to have their team be good in 3, 4, 5 years. And by that time, Bledsoe's out of his prime or on the back end of his prime, and he's looking to become more of, a role player for a team. And I don't think that he wanted his prime years wasted, and You can't blame him for that. Why would you? So for Phoenix now, I think that they're in a good place, especially, like I said, with the Greg Monroe contract. That's going to be off the books next season. They still have Tyson Chandler for a couple years. When his contract is up, then they're looking at cap space. Their young players are going to be developed. Devin Booker, Marquise Chris, and Tyler Ulis, and these guys. I really like what Phoenix is doing. I just think they went about the situation the wrong way, and I think in a few years they're going to be a good team.
I completely agree with you with everything you just said. I honestly think Greg Monroe, he can be like a replacement for Tyson Chandler.
Very well could be. He is younger. He is younger.
He's a solid player, and they have other stars on that, like Devin Booker, Ulis, Marquise Chris. They have other guys. It is a complete team, and I think with the right coach and a little bit more experience, they will be a very good team.
I think if we just go back to when the Bucks signed him in 2014, I didn't really understand it at the time.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a really questionable move, especially when he was in Detroit and he was having great seasons there with Andre Drummond. Had their own Twin Towers going on there, and they were successful for the most part. He put up good numbers, but then he kind of threw everyone for a loop when he signed with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, it was weird.
And just him there didn't really fit the system. It just seemed kind of awkward. Every time he came in, it felt like the system wasn't working well. It was like just the cogs weren't meshing when you put Monroe in the game. And that's nothing against him. He just didn't fit the system.
Exactly. And, I remember his first year in Milwaukee, he had a decent season. But, this year, ever since that first season in Milwaukee, he's been going downhill. But I still think he can be like a double-double type of guy for you.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, all in all, I guess what I want to know is, with Eric Bledsoe on the team, how good, potentially, could the Milwaukee Bucks be this season?
I think they're going to be a playoff team, of course, but, second round.
Do you see the Milwaukee Bucks as a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference?
Not without Jabari Parker.
So that's what you're banking on, is him coming back from his ACL healthy.
Yes.
Like the Jabari we saw pre-injury.
Yes, I believe so.
And we know that watching him before, and he was really, really developing well.
He was coming into his own
for that team, and we hate to see ACL injuries, MCL injuries, things like this, things that keep players from being who they are.
Especially with Jabari Parker, him being such a humble and nice guy.
Absolutely,
great player, young.
Oh yeah, he's a good kid for those guys, and his teammates love him.
And yeah, no, for sure. And like, to finish this trade off, what letter grade do you give it?
For which side?
For just overall in general.
And overall, I give this trade a solid A. I really like it. I would give it an A+, but I feel like the Suns, I don't want to say got fleeced, but I mean, I feel like they could have gotten just a little bit more. I mean, Greg Monroe, they said they were looking for young assets. I feel like they could have maybe talked the Bucks into, maybe not Malcolm Brogdon, but maybe could have talked about Chris Middleton perhaps, or maybe a Tony Snell, something like that to bring him back. And Tony Snell is no slouch.
No, he's not. He's not.
He's a really, really good role player for them, and even in Chicago, that's why the Bucks wanted to go after him, was his production in Chicago for the Bulls. But I'd give the overall trade an A. I would say a B+ for the Suns, and then I'd give the Bucks obviously an A+. Like I say, whoever gets the better player, whoever gets the star, always wins the deal.
Exactly. No, for sure. I agree with you.
So with that said, we wish the Milwaukee Bucks a great season. I'm excited to see Eric Bledsoe fit in with that team and him playing in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. Exactly. It's gonna be nice to see another good player on the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, and this by no means balances it out, but it definitely brings the power closer to the middle, even if it is still very, very much apart.
One last thing: do you think he makes the All-Star team?
If we were going by the old format, I would say he probably does. But like I said, I'm still a little confused on how they're going to do this thing. I know I've been trying to read the rules.
That is true.
But, it's like, do you take so many from the East and so many from the West and then put them together? Do you take 20 from the East and then 37 from the West? Like, how are they? I'm not sure how they're going to do it. But if it was old format, I think he has a very good chance to do it. I think the only people he really has to worry about, Kyrie Irving, of course, John Wall, D'Angelo Russell, Isaiah Thomas, of course, when he comes back, hopefully healthy.
Healthy, yes.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I think he has a chance. I think it just all depends on how him and Giannis play together.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's fair.
But, speaking about the Eastern Conference teams, let's move down to another one here. The Boston Celtics are on a 9-game winning streak after losing their first 2 games of the season, which is pretty remarkable, especially without their all-star in Gordon Hayward. Kyrie's been putting this team on his back and really showing that he is a leader and can be a leader of a team. I know this is your favorite team, so I'm going to go ahead and let you take the wheel on this one. And let me know what you think about this 9-game winning streak from the Celtics.
Oh, no, man. I am, super happy. The way they're playing. Kyrie, he's been playing amazing. I love Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's development. They're both Jason Tatum, he doesn't even look like a rookie.
Oh, no, not at all. He looks like he's been playing for a few seasons now.
And Al Horford, he's been playing amazing, better than last season. I really like the way this team's playing. The chemistry's great. And I like that Kyrie doesn't have to, put the team on his back like Russell Westbrook. Right. That type of stuff. He's still leading the team, but he doesn't have to put these crazy numbers up for them to win. Like, we were talking about it the other day. I'm like, oh, yeah, I wish he would put up some better numbers. But you open my eyes and, hey, shoot, if they're winning,
Right, whatever works,
Exactly, he only had 11 points against the Magic, but they still won. So I'm happy. I'm happy. Everybody's contributing. Morris is back. He's going to be a vital part to the team. I really like this.
And just real quick, piggybacking off of what you said, him scoring 11 points against Orlando, being able to be that kind of guy and that kind of player that says, okay, I don't need my moment right now. My teammates, they'll get this for me. We'll get this W. And that's what you need.
That means a lot. Yeah, no, for sure. That's great for him, knowing that he can count on his guys. Jaylen Brown, it's crazy how good he's been. And, I expect them to continue this. I think they can take that first seed.
I think that, and absolutely. I think the 1 seed is looking very promising for them right now, especially if they can keep up this kind of play. And the rookies and the second-year players, Jaylen Brown and Rozier,
Marcus Smart, always love his hustle.
And Jason Tatum, of course. Their potential, they can keep building on top of that and getting better because we know they're talented. They just need to polish that throughout the season. And I think Kyrie's a guy that they can lean on for that kind of support. And of course, Al Horford, being a veteran. He's 31 years old. He's been in this league for a while. He was with the Hawks his entire career until he came to Boston. He's been around the block. He's played with great players. Kyle Korver back in his prime, Paul Millsap, even Damari Carroll. That we know that squad that won 60 games.
Johnson,
Joe Johnson, of course, ISO Joe. Al Horford has been really surprising to me.
He has.
Doing
it all.
I expect the 15 points. He's a solid scorer. But the 9 rebounds, this is a guy that we complained for the past couple years. It's like, why can't he rebound the ball? Why is he only getting 5 or 6 a game? What's going on with Al? And then this year he comes out, he's like, okay, let me show you. And he gets nine rebounds a game on top of 5 assists. We know he's a playmaker, but I did not expect nine rebounds a game from Al Horford. I'm really impressed with not just the rebounding, but his defense. Being the anchor on that side of the floor has been incredible for that team. And me being a Raptors fan, I've been excited to watch the Celtics play this year. Just to watch them go on this little win streak here. Hopefully they keep it up. They're looking really good. Kyrie dropping 35 points on the Hawks Monday. He was toying with that Hawks defense.
He was
anything and everything he wanted to do. Behind the back, through the legs, pull up, stop on a dime. This guy was doing whatever he wanted.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad for them because he was crazy. He was just having fun out there. And like how you said, what more do you want from this 31-year-old? He's just giving them so much. I really like Al Horford. And with Kyrie Irving leading the league in steals.
Another thing, if you would have told me, I wouldn't have believed it at the beginning of the season. If you would have told me after the first 10 or 11 games of the season that Kyrie would be leading the league in steals, I would have said you're crazy.
No, neither did I. Yeah, I'm really happy for that.
This is a guy who last year, with the Cavs, he's not a defender.
He's not.
You don't know Kyrie for his defense, but
right.
Averaging over 2 steals a game is incredible. It's really a remarkable thing, and like you said, just how impressive they've been without Gordon Hayward. This is truly stunning. They very well could be undefeated because we know that not the home opener, but the season opener against the Cavaliers in Cleveland. If Gordon Hayward plays that game, I am almost 99% sure that Boston comes out with a victory. But
yeah, it is what it is. I think so too. They would have won that game, but he's recovering pretty well. I've seen him shooting.
Yes. I know. I've seen a short interview he did with, I believe it was ESPN, and he just talks about the recovery process and just how he's dealing with it, how it's changed him. Opened his mind up to just basketball is more than a game, and just life and being appreciative. And it's a very, very emotional, very good interview. I would recommend it if you want to look it up on YouTube or NBA.com. I know it's on there. But let me ask you this question, Rick: how worried should the Cavs be that the Celtics are now on a 9-game winning streak and the Cavs are sitting not so comfortably at the 9 seed in the Eastern Conference?
I think they should be a little worried right now because, man, it is pretty crazy how things are shaping up right now. But like how I've said before, once Isaiah Thomas comes back, I think it's going to be a different team. And once Isaiah Thomas comes back, they can give the Celtics a run for their money. They can definitely give the Celtics a run for their money. They still have the best player, LeBron James. Isaiah Thomas, one of the best point guards in the league. They should be a little worried.
I agree that they should be worried, but I think they should be even more worried. You
think so?
This is the worst defensive team in the league. And I understand that Isaiah Thomas gives you incredible strength on the offensive side of things. But when you have a 5'8", 5'9" point guard, where do you hide him on defense? If he can't guard the 1, he can't guard the 2, you can't stick him anywhere else. And I think that maybe their offensive rating goes up. Maybe they end up being a top 6 or 7 offense in the league. That's great. But when you have the 30th ranked defense in the entire NBA, that poses a huge problem. Because if you put up 130 points in a game, but you let your opponent put up 135, you still lose.
Exactly. In the Celtics, they're an offensive powerhouse. All these guys can score. Isaiah Thomas is not going to stop Kyrie from scoring.
Absolutely not. And I don't think Kyrie is going to stop Isaiah from scoring because we've seen him score on just about every single type of NBA player in the league.
That is true. I'm hoping that Jay Crowder picks up his play a little bit.
Absolutely. I think he's been a little disappointing, to say the least.
He has.
Not so much his production. I mean, I don't expect him to be, one of the most productive players in the league, but him being, a looked-upon role player as one of the best, just the way that he's been playing, like you said, I mean, the defense is kind of so-so. We thought he'd be a little bit better. And the offense, really, I mean, in some aspects, it's just been horrific to watch.
No, yeah, it has. And I think it has to do a lot to do with maybe, like, his mother passing away.
Absolutely.
Maybe that has affected him a lot. Hopefully, he can get past – he's not going to get, like – hopefully he can improve,
Right. And we know that, family matters, and, the passing of a loved one or a close friend or anything like that, it takes an emotional toll on a player.
It does.
And not just players, anyone for that matter.
For sure.
We do understand completely, and, we don't expect him to bounce back 100%. I'm sure that's still weighing on him.
Exactly.
But even if that wasn't the case, if he says he's fine, we're not inside his head. We don't know how he feels. But having said that, we do hope that his play picks up. I'm wondering if it has anything to do with the chemistry, or the absence of the chemistry with Isaiah Thomas.
That might be true.
I think with Isaiah playing in Boston with Jay, I think that they developed something there. We know that they're close friends. I think when he comes back, the chemistry comes there. And let's not forget that Isaiah Thomas and Kevin Love also played AAU together when they were younger. So I'm sure that there's some chemistry there. We know that Kevin Love's game has changed a little bit, but he just had a game where 32 points and 16 rebounds without attempting a single three-point shot. This is looking like Minnesota Kevin Love.
Exactly. And that would be nice to see. Once Isaiah Thomas comes back, like the chemistry just builds. It gets Jay Crowder pumped up, Kevin Love pumped up, and shoot. I think they can still be dangerous. They can still be dangerous.
And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something that I really enjoyed seeing the other night when Kevin Love had his performance. I saw J.R. Smith actually show up for a game, and I could not be happier. I mean, this man, he hit a few contested 3-pointers that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's a J.R. shot. Like if you saw anyone else take it, you're like, no, what are you doing? Or you see J.R. taking it, it's like, no, that's probably going in.
Right.
Right. And I saw it happen, and I'm like, wow, man, J.R.'s back. I think he finally, hopefully, I'm hoping this wasn't a fluke because I think he had around 16, 17 points. I hope this isn't a fluke and that he's actually back because the Cavs need that.
They desperately
need JR to be confident because if it's a close game and with as bad as their defense is, you need to be able to count on JR to hit one of those crazy shots that he's known for hitting. Being that microwave that we know he can be. And it's just, speaking of crazy performances, last Friday, LeBron James tied the Cleveland Cavaliers record for most points in a game with a monster stat line of 57 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. He shot 68% from the floor and made 9 of 9 of his free throws.
Incredible. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, what do you say to that? I mean, this man is 32 going on 33 years of age.
That's what makes it crazy.
And he's just, I mean, this is one of his better performances of the last three years since he's been with the Cavs. This is incredible stuff. I mean, 3 assists away from a triple-double. This man almost shot 70% from the floor, and he shot 34 times. He had 34 shot attempts. And also a guy that shoots in the mid-70s for free throws. He made all 9 of them. And we know that Skip Bayless was probably cringing at that because we know that he loves to criticize LeBron and his free throw shooting. But, I mean, that's besides the point. Just this performance as it was, LeBron scored 57 points. Let's keep that in mind. They only beat the Wizards by 5. This goes back to how bad their defense is. How can you have the greatest player on the planet score 57 points and only win by 5?
Exactly. And he's not going to be able to do that every night. And shoot, he almost tied his career high for points.
Almost.
That's crazy.
What was his career? 61?
62 against the Hornets when he was Miami.
When he was with Miami, that's right.
That's insane. And at this age, it's really impressive to see him play at this level.
And like you said, he shouldn't have to do this. But the fact that he can do this should let everyone else know, wow, Okay, I'm reminded now. This is the greatest player on the planet. Let me pick up my slack.
Right.
You know,
and that's still scary because imagine him not playing at this high of a level, and then the other guys clicking, other guys getting hot.
Exactly, and not even they don't even have to like Kevin Love doesn't have to score 32 points. No. You know, if he can just get his 20 and 10. I mean, they would be fine. Everyone else could be mediocre, honestly.
Right.
And when Isaiah Thomas comes back, you know, if he can get, you know, close to 20 points, 7 or 8 assists a game, which I'm not sure if he's capable of doing, we'll have to see. But we know that he can get at least 5 a game.
At least 5 a game. No, yeah. And LeBron, 25, 30 points.
Oh, we know LeBron's going to get his. I mean, he's averaging double-digit assists right now.
He's going to get his,
you know,
yeah.
This is LeBron that, you know, I can't stand it when people say, oh, LeBron's just deferring to his teammates. You know, no, he's a facilitator. And this is what he does. He's a very, very intelligent basketball player.
Oh,
he knows what he's
doing.
He's
a genius. He's a basketball genius. And you can't count out the Cavs. You just can't.
No, and I won't. I know that they're 5-6 right now. I know they're under 500. I know they're out of the playoff standings right now. But I can tell you that 2 weeks from now, even if they're, you know, hovering on the 4 or 5 seed, this is going to be their struggles. They're still going to be around, but this is going to be like, oh, the Cavs are terrible. Oh, they're not going to make the playoffs. Oh, the Boston Celtics are going to sweep them or whatever crazy nonsense people are talking about. I'm like, it's not going to happen.
It's not.
It's just not. You know, just the Cavs, they'll come around. This is a LeBron James team. We know the regular season is always a struggle. And let's not forget, okay, these are guys, you know, Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, Jay Crowder, Isaiah Thomas when he comes back. I mean, these are guys that they're new. You know what I mean? It's like constructing a new team. They have a bunch of new pieces that they have to put together, and they just need time. You know, it was a shortened training camp, so I'm sure that all this will be worked out in a couple months, and that the Cavs will be back.
Oh no, yes, I agree. And I'm gonna say these last 2 things: they need some more time, and they need a new coach. That's all I'm gonna say.
Tyronn Lue. Let me just say this. Okay, I know everyone thought that he was a genius when he took over for David Blatt, right? And he's made the finals 3 times in his first 3 years, which is incredible. It's a great accomplishment, but that is nothing short of LeBron James's greatness. Okay, like we said, he's one of the smartest players in the league, and not anything to knock Ty Lue, but what has he really shown in late game situations or in the middle of games or at halftime to show that he is able to understand the game and the changes that need to be made to benefit the team? I mean, we just haven't seen it yet. At least I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, neither have I.
And I'm just sitting here like, okay, well, you know, maybe it's not just Tyronn Lue. Maybe it's every single coach that LeBron James has had. He's never had a solid, good top 5 in the league coach. You know, he's never had a Brad Stevens. He's never had a Greg Popovich. He's never had a Dan Toney. He's never had, you know, anyone else for that matter. I mean, Jeff Van Gundy, you know, when he was coaching, he just hasn't had that kind of leadership. So I think for him, he's had to take it on himself to kind of be a quote unquote player coach, which can be good and can be bad. But we've seen it's been better than worse when the time comes. You know,
I honestly would think LeBron's better. Like, it would be better if they didn't have a coach. That would give LeBron all the freedom just to run the offense, run the team, honestly.
Which can be a very good thing and a very bad thing.
Exactly.
You know?
But like with these type of coaches, you know, shoot.
And you know, that's a very hazy situation because, you know, you have a coach saying one thing and then you have LeBron saying another thing, and then the players are like, well, my coach told me to do this, but
it is LeBron James.
It's LeBron James told me to do this, so it's like, what do I do, you know? So, I mean, I can understand that some players would be between a rock and a hard place and not really understanding what to do. But, you know, sometimes that's just the way it is. You have to draw the line in the sand and say, okay, this is what needs to be done. You know?
Yeah, if he wants to play with a good coach, he might as well just come to Boston.
Oh, wouldn't that be a dream come true for Celtic fans, huh?
Oh my goodness.
No, I don't think LeBron. Even if they had a super team in Boston, I couldn't see LeBron
it'd be tough to see
in green and white.
It would be tough to see,
especially all those battles with Garnett and Pierce and Rondo, Ray Allen. Oh man, I can't see it. I can't see it at all. That hurts my eyes, man. Don't make me think about that.
I would. I don't know what I would.
How about LeBron come up north, come play for the Six, huh? I think you look good in that red and white, huh?
That'd be crazy, dude.
Anyway, moving on. We had a couple career highs over the past week, and one of them was really, really impressive. Kristaps Porzingis dropped a career-high 40 points on the Pacers in their 108-101 victory on Monday night. The Knicks were down 18 points at one point in the second half, and Kristaps just said, you know what, I'm tired of this. Let me go out and win this game. And just the way that he's come into his own this season has been incredible. To see how he's been able to play without Carmelo Anthony, because, let me just say this. I don't hate Carmelo Anthony. He just didn't fit the system. And right. he was stunting the growth of Kristaps, plain and simple. To see him play without Melo and the way that he's able to move the ball, the way that he's able to dominate inside, not just shooting threes from 33 feet out, this guy has just been truly incredible. 40 points, come back from 18 down, really impressive victory.
I think Kristaps Porzingis is playing like an MVP caliber player. It's incredible what he's been what he's been able to do as a leader on the offense and defensive end. I think this Knicks team, they have a bright future. If they can get a couple more pieces, they can be scary. Right now, Porzingis for me is playing better than Karl Towns.
I think right now that's 100% accurate right now, because I think Towns in his situation with being in the West, he's got to share the ball. He's got to share with Jimmy. He's got to share with Wiggins. He's got to share with Teague. All these guys, and I agree with you. 100%.
Yeah, I know. Porzingis, and he's a humble guy. He doesn't have a big ego.
No.
Just a great player, and I'm happy. I'm happy the Knicks not be like terrible as many people as I thought they were just going to be awful.
Absolutely. They're 6-4. They're 6-4 right now.
Yeah. I did expect Porzingis to play good, but not this good.
No, not this good. Not carry his team to a victory down 18 points.
And he's so young.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
That's something that you see a seasoned veteran do, and this is his third year in the league now.
And do you think he improves? Do you think he can get better?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's always room for improvement, especially with someone as young as him. Was he 20, 22 years old?
22, yeah.
He's definitely room for improvement. Him and Giannis, Towns. Still, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is only 24 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think those four right there are probably the future of the NBA as far as big men go. And Giannis being, what do you even classify Giannis as? He's a jack of all trades. He can play every position. Giannis is the next Magic Johnson.
To be honest,
honestly,
more athletic.
That's what I see. Exactly. That's what I see him as, especially if he develops anything of a jump shot. A 15-footer, anything. He's going to be incredible. But Porzingis, definitely room for improvement. But this guy, that 40-point game, definitely a start. 40 points is your career high. That's a pretty good mark to have in your third year. And like you said, the defense.
Those blocks.
He's always been great. What he had 3 blocks in one possession. It's one crazy. Possession. He didn't care.
Those are fun to watch. His blocks, they're just great.
And there's something that I saw. I was watching some sports analysts talk about this, and I had one of them compare him to not Dirk Nowitzki but Hakeem Olajuwon, specifically on his footwork and his work on the defensive end. Now, I look at it and I'm like, well, it's kind of hard to see. And you think about it, it's like, well, they compare him to Dirk because, he's European and he kind of looks like Dirk, But when you say, like, oh, he kind of reminds me of Hakeem Olajuwon, you don't see it because, Olajuwon from Africa and then you have Kristaps from Europe, you don't see it. But when you watch them and you put the tape up side by side, the similarities there are incredible. I'd say he's almost more similar to Hakeem than Joel Embiid is.
Yes, I agree.
Just I don't know what it is, but everything, the way that he moves his feet, the way that he roams the paint on the defensive end and follows. He's like a ball hawk, and he doesn't let anything inside. He tries to alter every single shot that comes up close to the rim, and just going back and then watching Hakeem do it, watch Kristaps do it. The similarities are incredible. This kid is so talented, and I envy whoever booed him on draft night. I really do. This guy is truly a special talent.
No, he seriously is. I think I'm just going to go – might be a little crazy, but I think at the end of the day he will be better than Dirk.
He's definitely got the potential to do so.
He's more athletic,
honestly.
defensively crazy, but I wish him the best and the Knicks.
And no disrespect to Dirk Nowitzki.
No.
One of the great, if not the greatest power forward of all time. You can make the argument. I mean, he's an incredible, definitely the greatest European player we've ever seen.
It's been a joy to watch Dirk play
Absolutely.
all the years. Amazing player.
I hope this isn't his last season. I would love to see him just one more year. Make it a solid 20 years.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That would be
nice
great.
to see
Just a nice round 20. We thought Timmy Duncan was going to do it, but I guess 19 was enough for him.
right. No, that is true. But
no, another performance that we need to squeeze in here. James Harden scored a career high 56 points along with 13 assists in the Rockets' demolition, okay, of the Utah Jazz, 137-110. They won by 27. James Harden had 52 points in the third quarter.
oh my goodness.
The third quarter. He only scored 4 points in the fourth. Why? Well, we're not sure. I guess they were up by enough. He thought he was done scoring for the night. But when you're that close, you got to go for 60. You got to go for 60.
do.
But that is truly incredible. He was perfect from the 3-point line, 7 for 7. I mean, it was a incredible performance. And to think he did all of this without Chris Paul on the floor. Now, let me ask you this question. With this performance and a couple performances beforehand where he scored in the high 30s, low 40s, is James Harden better without Chris Paul on the floor? I know it sounds crazy.
Yeah, I do think so. You know, he's gonna get more points, more assists. But for like the team in general, I think it's better to have Chris Paul and James Harden on the floor.
Absolutely. I think just having Chris out there for his defensive purposes, if anything, I mean, sure, he might take away from, Harden's points a little bit. Maybe they come down just a few, because we know that Chris likes to be a ball-dominant guard, like we mentioned earlier, if not the most ball-dominant guard in the league right now. But I think that James, as a solo individual player, is better without Chris on the floor because it's his team. He's in control. We've seen it before when Chris wasn't there last year. Incredible season. Second in MVP voting. I mean, the guy was an animal.
He makes it look easy.
Absolutely. But I think having Chris Paul there to take some of the pressure off of him so Harden doesn't have to do this every single night is the whole purpose for this. That's why he wanted him to come in so he can have someone else run the offense when James has to go to the bench. Even when James just wants to take a break and he's in the game, he can be a spot-up shooter.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to exert all that energy with the dribbling and the step back, the driving, free throws, the contact, all that stuff.
All that stuff. That takes a toll on the body.
Absolutely. But no, that was incredible. I can't get over 52 points, and he only did that in 36 minutes of play.
That's impressive. But with James Harden, like every time he's a special talent, one of the best in the league.
Absolutely. I mean, and the Rockets are just looking great. Let me throw this question at you: Do the Houston Rockets now, because the Oklahoma City Thunder are struggling right now, and we'll get to them in a second. But with the Rockets playing the way that they are, when Chris Paul comes back, they've already beaten the Warriors once, whether it was a fluke or not. Can they give them a run for their money, honestly?
I got to see them play with Chris Paul more to be able to say, okay. But right now, they could take 2 or 3 games, but the Warriors beat them right now.
You don't think that they could beat them 4 out of 7 games?
No, I'm sorry. But like how I said, I got to see them with Chris Paul.
That's fair enough. That's a fair assessment. We definitely haven't seen enough of him yet. And but there was a game winner this past week. One of our favorite players from the Portland Trail Blazers. Last Thursday, Damian Lillard hit a game-winning 3 with 0.7 seconds left to lift the Blazers over the Los Angeles Lakers at home. Rick, let me ask you this question. We've seen Dame do this time and time again throughout his career. Is he the most clutch player in the NBA?
I think so, yes. Yes. When it matters the most, Dame has always been there in the playoffs, the regular season.
It's not just the regular season. We've seen him do this in postseason play. And if D'Angelo Russell wants to have ice in his veins, I don't want to know what Dame has in his.
Oh, my goodness. No, it's insane. And
he's cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded. And they're mostly threes.
Lillard time.
Yeah,
we saw him put it up after the game. And just the amount of confidence after the shot went up. I mean, he knew it was going in.
And it was, again, like Brandon Ingram was guarding him. That's a long reach.
Oh, yeah.
And he got that over him.
Well over 7-foot wingspan.
Oh, my goodness. Over. Yeah, like that. He did play good defense on it, but just Lillard, oh, my goodness. That's his time.
Absolutely.
And at the three-point line.
Absolutely. And he's a really incredible talent to watch. And I actually did watch their game against, I believe it was the Utah Jazz. Even though they lost that game, I really liked what I saw. Just from the big three, C.J. McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic, and Damian Lillard, of course. I know they ended up losing, but hey, let's not get it twisted. The Jazz are a really good defensive team.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They're no slouches. But Rudy Gobert blocking Damian Lillard's layup as time expired. That was hard to watch because I mean he had Yusuf Nurkic opened underneath, but when you only have like 1.5 seconds left, you're not really thinking that. You just want to get the ball up.
Exactly.
But I mean, just watching them, I've been really impressed with the Blazers play. And I feel like the record doesn't reflect how well they're performing in the Western Conference right now. But I really like what I'm seeing.
Exactly. No, same here. Nurkic has been stepping up his game. CJ McCollum, he's been the same, efficient, high-scoring guy. Lillard playing like an all-star. I feel bad for them because they're such a good team.
Oh, yeah.
Being in the West, it's tough.
I think it's their defense is really speaks to how far this team has come from a few years ago. Evan Turner's playing well. I'm really impressed with their rookies and Zach Collins and Caleb Swanigan.
Oh yeah, no,
those guys are really holding their own in that Blazers team. But Al-Farouq Aminu, this guy from last year was pretty terrible. He was terrible. This year, complete opposite, complete 180, and it's great to see that because he hasn't been good for a couple years now, and to see him bounce back and actually be a defensive threat has been great, and it's really helped this Portland team.
It has.
They're barely sitting over 500, but they're 6-5 right now, and they're looking good.
No, they definitely are, and it sucks that Aminu, he got injured. He's going to be out for a little while, but once he comes back, I've been impressed with him. I picked him on fantasy. He's doing a little bit of everything.
Absolutely.
I like it.
Now let me ask you about another Western Conference team that's sitting right below Portland, with the same exact record. Okay. The New Orleans Pelicans are 6-5 through their first 11 games without Rondo. Okay, this is without Rajon Rondo playing. He had a sports hernia. He's been out the past 3 weeks. Still has a couple more to go before he's able to see play. But I want to know with the Brow and Boogie leading the charge, are the Pelicans for real? And can the Twin Towers be enough to propel this team perhaps even into the second round?
I think so. The DeMarcus Cousins, he's playing like the MVP of the league.
You're telling me. I got him on my fantasy team. The numbers this guy is putting up. I mean,
they're insane.
29 points, 13.5 rebounds, 6 assists. This guy's a center. He's averaging 6 assists a game. 6 assists a game, 2 steals and 2 blocks, and he shoots 34% from the three-point line. This guy's almost 7 feet tall.
That's insane. That's insane. He's a big boy too.
He is definitely playing like an MVP, and Anthony Davis is no slouch either. His numbers are very similar. He averages 1 less point. He averages about a half rebound less than he does. He averages 4 less assists, but that's expected. He's not the playmaker that Boogie is.
Right.
He averages more blocks, but their numbers. I mean, when you combine them together, they are like 75% of this New Orleans Pelicans offense and defense, for that matter.
It's insane. And once Rondo comes back, and if he can play like how he played for the Kings,
oh man, can you imagine Rondo like just 10 points, 11 rebounds, or 11 assists?
That's all they need. That's all they need for him.
Could you imagine that?
Run
because
the offense.
Drew Holiday getting his 15, 16 points, maybe 4 or 5 assists, and then everyone else get a couple threes here and there. Jameer Nelson, he's been surprisingly efficient for this team, and I couldn't be happier. I mean,
no, right,
Magic Jameer. I mean, that was incredible to watch him and Dwight Howard in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference for a while.
That was a good team,
and that was a great team. Got to the finals.
That's crazy. But no, imagine Rondo run the fast break with Boogie and Davis. Oh, what a sight!
I can just, the first thing that comes to mind is I can see them reenacting that scene. When the Celtics and the Miami Heat were playing, when Mario Chalmers passed it to Norris Cole, and then he passed it up to LeBron James, and he threw it down on Jason Terry.
Oh my goodness!
I could just see that happening. Like Rondo kicking it up to AD, and then AD throws it up to Boogie for the slam. This team is so interesting because it's so different from the rest of the league.
It is. It is like most of the league. It's all about the guards. And now the best 2 big men in the league.
Absolutely. And that's no question. That's no question.
There's you got Karl Towns, Porzingis, but Davis and Cousins.
I still think the gap between those two and these Twin Towers here are just, I mean, it's just too much. Like, you just have to think about it. If you took Karl Anthony Towns and Kristaps Porzingis against Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, who wins?
Cousins.
I mean, that's no question. I mean, you go ahead and make the argument, but I'm just going to call you crazy. I mean, these guys are incredibly talented, and I just keep thinking, like you said, when Rondo comes back, I mean, that's going to be something scary.
And they can't spread the floor because Davis and Boogie, they can shoot the three. It's not like
absolutely. I mean, Boogie's shooting 34%. I mean, that's better than some guards.
So imagine you got to guard them in the paint, but you also got to be careful with them out in the perimeter.
Absolutely,
they will hit those.
Absolutely, and they have shooters now. I mean, Jameer Nelson has been very efficient. Ian Clark can shoot the three. If you leave Etuan Moore open, he'll knock it down.
Drew.
I mean, Drew Holiday, he can shoot.
He can shoot, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, but I mean,
he can shoot.
If you can have him at the 2 guard and then bring Rondo back, you're gonna have to guard Rondo because he's gonna fling that ball all over the court. And then, honestly, and then Drew, he can sit on the wing. And he can
do his thing.
He can cut. Boogie and the Brow can set screens for him. Even Dante Cunningham. I mean, he's a solid role player. The only thing I worry about is the Pelicans' depth. It's definitely not good there. When Ajinka comes back, he's not good. He's just not good. But other than that, I mean, their guards are so-so. I mean, Ian Clark, I really like. I'm a big fan of his.
Same here.
But anyway, Solomon Hill's out for the year, which kind of sucks because you're stuck with Dante Cunningham and then, what's his name? Diallo? I think that's his last name. I can't think of his first name right now. Chick Diallo, I think is his name. You're stuck with him. He's so-so. He's had a couple good games this season, but so far nothing spectacular. But
man, I forgot about him. To be honest.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, how could? I mean, it's the Pelicans bench. I mean, but hey. He's in the NBA and I'm not, so keep doing your thing, young fella.
Right.
But no, the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm just really impressed. 6-5, and they've beaten a couple quality opponents.
Hopefully they can keep this up, and once Rondo comes back, hopefully they can mesh well and keep it up.
Absolutely, I've been really impressed. I know you've been really impressed as well. But no, this is a team. Like I said, I mean, we start talking second round of the playoffs. If they can grab a 6 seed, maybe upset the Spurs. Maybe upset the Thunder.
I could see that.
It's very plausible. Very plausible. They're definitely one of the most interesting teams, and it's tough to deal with those two guys down low.
No, it definitely is.
Even on the perimeter. But let me get to the last topic here. I want to ask you this question. The Thunder, they had a pretty devastating loss yesterday. They dropped to 4-6. The game before that, they lost to Portland. Carmelo Anthony got ejected on a questionable, very questionable flagrant 2 foul on Jusuf Nurkic. The team wasn't too happy about it. You would have figured that they would have bounced back, but they haven't. They're 4-6, and being 4-6 in the Western Conference when you start off is not where you want to be because they are now sitting at the, I believe, 10 seed or 11 seed in the West. Should the Thunder hit the panic button now? This is a question I asked a couple weeks ago, and I was hesitating whether or not to push it. But now I think that I'm slamming that button because this is something that I thought was going to come together seamlessly, honestly. I thought that Paul George was already a good off-the-ball player. He's a really good defender, and I thought he could play off of Russ very well. Melo, I thought that he was going to come in there because he's playing the power forward position. Yes, we know he likes to ISO, but, I mean, we know he's a decent rebounder. He's been a decent rebounder his entire career. And then, of course, Russell Westbrook just being an absolute athletic freak that he is. I'm really concerned with this Thunder team. I really am.
Oh, no, I'm right here with you. Like, I thought by now they would be one of the best teams in the NBA, but they just can't seem to mesh together, and it's crazy because you got Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Steven Adams. He's been playing good.
Steven Adams has been playing excellent basketball,
But I just simply don't understand. Like,
it's crazy to me because I don't know if it's crazy. I mean, just to me, maybe I'm more disappointed than anything else because I thought this team was going to be incredible. And yes, there's still 60-something games left in the season. But, I mean, being in the West, when you're already down, it's tough to climb back in it.
It is.
It's like we just said, back in 2013, the Suns won 48 games and missed the playoffs. 48 games. Do I see the Thunder winning 48 games? I hope so.
I hope they can change this. I hope so because I thought this team could be I thought they could maybe beat the Warriors.
Oh, absolutely. And we had talked about that weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just them coming together. They looked really impressive against the Timberwolves, even though they lost. But these back-to-back losses against just teams that they should beat. It's just been really disappointing.
It does suck. It sucks. That's all I'm gonna say. Hopefully they can get it together.
And I'm hoping next week after they play their next 3 or 4 games. I hope I can come back next week and tell you, be like, oh, they're over 500, nothing to worry about. But until then, I'm pressing this button, and until I see something different, definitely should be worried, especially if you're an OKC fan. You just hope that this team can somehow come through and mesh together. And who knows, maybe they will halfway through the season, but if they do, it might be too late. It's the Western Conference. We'll have to see.
That is true.
But that's going to conclude the segment portion of this episode. We're going to go ahead and get on to the predictions for November 8th and 9th in the NBA. But first, we have to award Rick once again for winning last week's prediction. He just took the lead on me. He is up 2-1, and I'm very disappointed. But that's just the way she goes sometimes. But anyway, getting back into it, the predictions for tonight, we have 10 games in 2 days, starting tonight with the Indiana Pacers at the Detroit Pistons. Rick, who are you taking?
Oh, give me the Pacers on this one.
Is Miles Turner back?
He's back.
I'm going to go ahead and take the Pistons. I'm going to go ahead and take the Pistons on this one. They're at home. I like them at home. They've only lost 3 games so far this season. I like Avery Bradley. I like Drummond. I like what they're doing. Pistons.
Okay. What about the Knicks at Magic?
I'm going to take the New York Knicks. I'm going to ride that Porzingis bandwagon, and they pick up the W on the road.
Okay. I think, they're at home. Hopefully Aaron Gordon, Vucevic, they can just protect that home court, and I think the Magic take it.
Fair enough. How about the Los Angeles Lakers at the Boston Celtics? I think I can already guess who you're taking here.
Lakers. No, I'm joking. Celtics.
I'm going to take the Celtics, too. I hope they can get that 10-game win streak going.
Okay, what about the Miami Heat at Phoenix Suns?
The Suns have been playing surprisingly well.
Yeah, they have.
They're only one game under 500. Hassan Whiteside, I know there's been some concerns about how much effort he's been putting into it. He's been got on by his coach and his teammates as well.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take the Phoenix Suns on this one. They get the W.
I'm gonna agree with you as well. I think they do take this one from them.
How about the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Golden State Warriors?
I think this is gonna be a close one, but I think the Warriors take it.
I think this is where you and me differ. I've been wanting to see the Wolves and Warriors play all season long. I'm going to go with the Timberwolves, even though I'm probably not going to get this right, but that's going to be my my pick that's out there. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Timberwolves.
Okay. What about the Pelicans at Toronto?
I got to go with my team. We're at home. We got to defend home court. I'm going to take the Raps on this one.
I'm just gonna go ahead and go with the Pelicans. We talk so much about them. I think they beat them.
I'm hoping the Raptors can stop those Twin Towers. How about the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Houston Rockets?
Oh, I think the Rockets take this one.
I'm gonna go ahead and have to agree with you. The Cavs are not playing. Well, actually, you know what? Cavs play like crap at home. You know what? I'll go ahead and take Cleveland on this one. They'll break 500. I'm counting on LeBron and Kevin Love to have some big games.
Okay. What about the Lakers at the Wizards?
I took the Wizards the last time, and I'll take the Wizards again. It's the second night of a back-to-back for L.A., and I think John Wall and Bradley Beal get the W.
Oh, man, yeah, no, this is a tough one, but I think since the Lakers are going to lose to the Celtics, I think they beat the Wizards. I think Lonzo Ball plays a good game here.
Fair enough. He's been iffy.
Yeah, he has.
Okay, how about the Philadelphia 76ers at the Sacramento Kings?
Oh, give me the Kings on this one.
Oh, the Kings, they just had a really good win a couple days ago. I'm going to go ahead and take Philly. They're hot right now. I'm going to ride that Ben Simmons bandwagon, and I'm going to pick the Sixers.
Okay, and the final one, Thunder at the Denver Nuggets.
Wow, man.
I think this is the toughest one.
Yeah, this is really hard because the Nuggets, they play really well at home. They play really well.
Do.
The Thunder have had a couple games that really, really have not been impressive whatsoever. I would really like them to bounce back, but they haven't shown me they can. I'm going to go ahead and take Denver.
No, this is a tough one, but, just to go the other way, I'll go with the Thunder. Hopefully they get a win.
And knowing you, this guy, he's made some crazy predictions so far, and he's beat me. What can I say? But no, that's going to wrap up our predictions for November 8th and 9th this week. We really do have fun making these for you guys.
Oh, my goodness.
This past week has been crazy. There's definitely been some stuff that we couldn't fit in here, but we're coming up on an hour as far as time goes, and we don't want to make this too terribly long. We're just going to try to keep it under 60 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But like I said, we really enjoy it. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And as always, we'll be back next week.
No, thanks for joining us, and we'll be here next week. Have a good week.
Peace.